many years ago in Opanku village. It was a beautiful Christmas period. Many families had their people who came from the city to Opanku to celebrate with their kindred. Opanku was bubbling with a whole lot of activities, a whole lot of festivities. Different people had different reasons to throw a feast, from opening their new house to taking a wife, to a naming ceremony, to washing a new car. Just name it. It was all celebrations galore. For young people, the youths, there were football matches between the different 10 villages in Opanku. The village that wins in the final match carries the cup for the year with a cash prize of 5 million naira. There were consolation prizes for the second and third positions. So being that competitive, the matches always attracted crowds from the different villages. The Opanku Central School field was always packed full each day there was a match. Apart from the matches, young people of marriageable age have another agenda: hook up. A young man, Udoka, who runs a small fashion designing business in a city, came home to Opanku a few days after Christmas, since he was very busy earlier with customers harassing for their custom-made Christmas clothes. He was chatting with his friend Uzoma. "Nna, how far?" Uzoma replied, "Nah, I'm good though, just this wife issue has been racking me up. Girls are everywhere, but getting a wife material is difficult." "Ha, Uzoma, which one is wife material? Are you a husband material as you are now, Biko? And how do you know a wife material when you see one?" "Well, me too, I'm looking for a wife, Uzoma. Chijoke just told me how he got his good wife 3 years ago during Christmas here in this our Opanku." Uzoma said, "Oh, really? How, please?" He said that he simply went to watch the usual Christmas football matches at Central Field. There he met this beautiful girl and they started talking. A year and a half later, they got married. He said that they are very happy they found each other. Me, I came home to look around. I am not anxious to marry now because my 2 elder brothers are not yet married. I would like to give them some respect and let them marry first. But if I find a wife material, like you said, maybe we would just be friends for some time and get to know if I am a husband material to her and if she is a wife material to me." So both of them went to the Central Field and decided to attend every day till the final match. On the second day, Udoka and Ifeoma met at the field. They started talking and there just seemed to be a good flow. 3 more matches to go. Ifeoma and Udoka were talking daily. She aired her dreams of going to the university to study economics. "You know, Udi, my parents are very good, but they don't have enough money. As I told you yesterday, I am the 5th in a family of 11 children. Only the first 2 could enter the university. The other 2 are trade apprentices in the city. Being primary school teachers, I don't want to ask my parents for what I know is not there. That is the issue troubling me now. And it's not as if I don't have the brain for school. I do. Just that," Udoka interrupted her. "Ify, what if we work out how this dream could work out for us?" The day was sealed in Udoka's mind. He has found a wife material. Uzoma is still hanging. He is yet to find a wife material. Ifeoma went to stay with her auntie in the city where Udoka lives. That provided ample opportunities for them to keep staying. Udoka's business was booming, so money wasn't a problem. Encouraged and sponsored by Udoka, Ifeoma rewrote JAMB to enter the university and passed. Udoka visited Ifeoma's parents to explain his interest to sponsor Ifeoma through the university. At the same time, he shared with them that he would like to be friends with her and patiently wait for her to be through with school before their wedding. Ifeoma's dad said, "Udoka, you are a good young man. I have known your father and some of your uncles for decades. Thank you for your kindness to our daughter Ifeoma. Ifeoma, your going to a higher institution shouldn't be to just go, but you have to do so well that both Udoka and your parents and siblings will be proud. And in no time you would get a good job to support the family you would build with Udoka. I trust you, Nne. Udoka Nwam, God bless you, and God bless the work of your hands. God bless your future with Ifeoma." Udoka practically flew back to the city, rejoicing that he had sealed a great deal with both Ifeoma and her parents. Ifeoma gained admission into the university to study economics. Everything was going very well for Udoka and Ifeoma. He was doing well in his business and Ifeoma was doing well at school. Occasionally, Udoka would visit Ifeoma at school, so her classmates and friends knew him. Ifeoma never lacked the basics and a little extra because Udoka was quite generous. Yes, everything was going pretty well until Ifeoma got to final year. She was waiting to see one of her lecturers, Professor Mrs. Zukari, an elegant, young, intelligent lady. A middle-aged man walked in style, looking affluent. A tap at the door and he opened it and entered. The student in there left immediately. He came out and explained to Ifeoma and the rest of the students who were waiting to see Professor Zukari that the man is Prof's husband. Mazi Zukari came out with this swag that the students wondered at. He paused and beamed a smile at Ifeoma. Ifeoma respectfully stood up to greet him. He took her hand and said aloud, "You must be Dr. Ndibe's daughter. You look so like him." He kept holding her hand till they were close to his car and said, "Young lady, you said your name is Ifeoma. Good thing. I just love your name, and I love the bearer of the name too. Here's my card. I want you to call me, okay?" Ifeoma collected the card, said goodbye, and left in a hurry. After seeing the prof, she went back to the hostel, wondering what the Mazi Zukari wants. She has a friend who seems to know the ways of men more than the rest. She went to her for advice. Her name is Queen. Friends would either make you or mar you. Queen said, "Ifeoma, Mazi Zukari means well. Married, yes, but he just wants friendship with someone else he equally loves." She narrated some of her escapades with men, both married and unmarried. She has a lot of money and sports only designer bags, shoes, perfumes, etc. One even bought her a car gift for her last birthday. Ifeoma asked, "So Queen, so what about my fiancé Udoka? What if he finds out that I am dating another man? What do you think would happen?" Before Ifeoma could finish, Queen snapped, "Forget that one for now. He's a husband material. You will marry him later. For now, you are young and beautiful. Use it. Don't waste it waiting to marry a man who cannot even give you the best in life." Last month in New York, at that party Brimo took me to, the host gave the latest iPhone to every guest that attended. Brimo bought me the latest and most expensive Chanel bag and promised to take me to Dubai next. No, darling, no. There's time for everything, period. Ifeoma left Queen pensive, deep in thoughts, many questions. Udoka came visiting the next day and Ifeoma was moody. Udoka noticed, asked, but Ifeoma lied. She said, Yudi, it's my period. You remember it troubles me sometimes. As Queen advised, Ifeoma called the Randy Mazi Zukari. They met at a sports club in town. Mazi Zukari could foot any bill. There and then started a reckless romantic friendship that would rock the very existence of both Ifeoma and Mazi Zukari. Well, the more days rolled by, the hotter they got into each other. Ifeoma became a happening girl on campus, sporting high-end wares. She started missing lectures, especially if there's a conflict between a date with Mazi and the lecture. And Mazi could just ask her out anytime and they could go places for weekend chilling out. This just continued and Udoka began to notice the changes in his Ifeoma, whom he had loved and sacrificed so much for. The whole mess was just depressing him. Ifeoma hardly allowed time for them to talk heart to heart anymore. This particular day, he put some pressure and Ifeoma accepted for them to meet at a neutral place. Udoka said, almost pleading, Ifeoma, what is the matter? Oh, Gene, did I offend you anyhow? The last 50,000 you asked me for, did I not send it? Ifeoma retorted after 2 days. Udoka responded, but I sent it. You know the situation in the country now. So customers sometimes delay in paying up to collect their clothes, and at other times they just abandon the clothes after we have labored to make them. Ifeoma looked down, almost remorseful. Then she said, Yudi, there's really nothing the matter. It is just that my schoolwork is heavier now. You know, this is final year. But if you don't wear the clothes I make for you anymore. Each time I see you, you are wearing these super fine clothes. How come? Is it the money I send that you used to buy them or what? I am in the fashion industry. These clothes are expensive. Yudi, why is this a bother to you? Don't you know I have friends who have rich parents or husbands? They dash me some of these clothes. Udoka accepted half-heartedly for peace sake and left. Oh sure, Professor Zukari heard about her husband and Ifeoma's escapades. These things don't hide for long. She felt too insulted to confront her student Ifeoma. She felt it was beneath her dignity. Back home, she asked her husband about it. That one lied and started shouting at her, saying, oh, because you are her teacher and professor, you think you could just be snooping around me? Ifeoma is my old classmate's daughter. You know him, Ekene. Ifeoma told me he died while trying to cross the road and got hit by a drunk driver in the US last year. So I shouldn't talk to her and commiserate with a poor girl. Mind yourself, oh. He stalked off. This exchange kept going on at different times until it was too obvious to the man that more lies would only make matters worse. He became adamant and would pick a quarrel with everyone at home, his wife, his kids, and their domestic staff. Like he looks for a quarrel to shout and showcase anger enough to walk out of the house, sometimes even sleeping out for nights. One day, a stranger walked up to Ifeoma. She didn't know who this gentleman was, but she felt at peace to share her turmoil with him. Ifeoma narrated what had been happening to her since the day she met Mazi. She opened up on her lack of concentration at her studies, her gross class absenteeism. Ifeoma said, the one that is racking me up is the fact that Udoka, who has been sponsoring me in this school, is heartbroken. I keep telling him lies. He wants to marry me when I graduate. Mazi Zukari is a very good man, very generous and loving. I am now well known on this campus. Many love me and I am able to help them if they need money. But sir, I hardly sleep, even with all the sleeping drugs Mazi gives me. He takes hard drugs sometimes. He has introduced me to some, but I'm cautious. We both drink hard liquor most times when we are together. Stranger said, Ifeoma, but you're not happy, are you? She replied, no, not at all. Do you love Udoka? Ifeoma answered, I don't really know. What is love really? Stranger continued, do you love Mazi? She replied, no, I go out with him for what he gives. I don't even know if I love anybody. Stranger said, that is your basic problem. You don't really know what love is. And because you don't really know love, you cannot understand the difference between love and money. The two don't oppose each other, mind you. Mazi only throws money at you to use you, while his own daughters are flying high. Udoka gives you money. He gives you what he has for now. He is running a growing business. You don't know what business Mazi does. No, you don't know. Or has he ever told you what business he does? He only told you that he is a businessman. Beware. It is not everything that glitters that is gold. The evil you don't destroy will destroy you. Life is in phases. Men are in sizes. Goodbye. Ifeoma cried that night in her room. Mazi came and picked her to escort him to Zulu Beach. She quickly dressed up to go have some fun and forget her sorrows and the strange encounter with a stranger. It was a cool weekend and really airy at the beach. Mazi asked Ifeoma, if you love, what do you think of our getting married? Yes, we would just elope and get married and be together and happy forever. Instead of being excited, Ifeoma was downcast. My love, what about Prof, your wife? Mazi said, forget that wicked woman. If you accept, I will throw her out, simple. Well, my love, I am interested, just that there's one man from my town that has sent cola to my parents. Mazi burst out in a rage. What exactly do you mean by that nonsense? So in your small mind, you think you could just leave me? Are you mad or what? I am sorry, but I didn't say I would leave you, my love. It is just that, Mazi interrupted her. Forget that you're just that. Any attempt to spoil what we share? You don't seem to know about nice, dangerous men, right? Weeks flew into months. Lecturers' long strike made Ifeoma's cover-up for supposedly writing project in school almost believable. Well, Udoka didn't believe her because he had come to school a number of times and she was nowhere to be found in school. The stranger appears again to talk to Ifeoma, who is now feeling very restless, more restless than before. She is beginning to fear for her life and future. The stranger said, Ifeoma, you seem to miss out on the day called tomorrow. You have received all manner of material gifts in the place of a peaceful life. You forgot that with the real gift of life and time, you could produce these things and far more for yourself by yourself. You told me last time that you are in final year. You abandoned your project for a wanton life. Now, your classmates are submitting their projects, but you haven't even started. Did you read about Mazi's daughter that was the best graduating student in aeronautic engineering in MIT, United States? Put your house in order, Ifeoma. You have lived a reckless life with a wicked man. Ifeoma was weeping with her hands covering her face. The stranger gently tapped her shoulder and said, "Goodbye." Meanwhile, Mazi Zukari's children with their mom, Professor Zukari, attended the graduation of their brainy daughter at MIT. The daughter warned that Mazi must not be at her graduation, that he is a wicked husband and a wicked father. From the US, Professor Zukari had to fly to Japan to take on a new World Bank job there. She needed to report there first before coming back to the university to tidy up things and say goodbye. 3 months later, Mazi broke down sick. The doctors couldn't find what he was suffering from initially. His life was just ebbing away. Finally, they said it was cancer of the liver. Prof was in Japan when their son gave her that information. Ifeoma was nowhere to be found. Queen had left the school without graduating. She spent 7 years in school roaming about, not attending lectures, not writing exams. She forged a call-up letter for NYSC and was thrown out of camp with 6 months in prison. Ifeoma went back to Udoka to beg. She wanted to be accepted back. Udoka sensed she came back because Mazi was dying and couldn't be throwing money at her as before. He knew all that. He knew that if she saw another such opportunity, she would ditch him. However, Udoka decided to play along. Uzoma, who had married by this time, was the one who consoled and helped him come out of depression to face his life and business squarely. His business was booming once again. He had customers from different parts of the world. One day, Ifeoma was alone with Uzoma in Udoka's office. Udoka was at a meeting with his tailors. Ifeoma said, "Uzo, you are married and happy. Why not talk to your friend? Does he want us to marry when we are old and white-haired?" Uzoma smiled and said, "Udo is getting ready. I will talk to him, but he is a very busy man now and may just want a very quiet wedding." Ifeoma was happy and thanked Uzoma. In 3 weeks, they went to see Ifeoma's parents to get a date for a small Igbanku ceremony. As planned, Udoka's parents and siblings were not present. Yes, only one of his elder brothers accompanied him and 5 of his friends. The ceremony was small and brief. The wedding was scheduled for 5 Saturdays away. This gave Ifeoma ample time to prepare and invite her many friends, and all her 10 siblings and entire clan would be present. On that due day, Udoka breezed in at about 6 a.m. He said, "Ify babe, I just came to make sure you are getting ready and all the makeup artists are doing what they are known for. See you in there." He hugged her a second and left. Wedding was scheduled for 10 a.m. By 9:45 a.m., Ifeoma and her dad were waiting in the car for 10 a.m. Her anxious dad knew about her recklessness and was wishing this wedding would come to pass quickly. 10:15 a.m., the father walked the all-dressed up Ifeoma into the hall. 11 a.m., no Udoka. 11:45 a.m., no Udoka. At that same time, Udoka was at another wedding. His other and real wedding with a responsible girl who had great values. By Sunday, Ifeoma's old classmate who knew Udoka when he was coming to visit her met Udoka and his wife at the International Airport, Lagos. Udoka introduced his wife and said, "Ikenna, we are now married. My wife and I are jetting out to the best honeymoon resort in Hawaii. See you when we come back." Wow, what have you learned from this story? What do you really think about this story? What advice do you have for Ifeoma and for other ladies? What advice do you have for Udoka? What is the moral of this story? Importantly, this story shows that your life today is a collection of choices you made yesterday. And only you could change it with a different set of choices. Please leave your comments below. Remember to click the like button if you enjoyed the story. Also click both the subscribe button and the bell to ensure you get to know when we upload another very interesting story. See you then. Goodbye.